he's been kind of helping me and advising me and stuff like that, which is really great.
Ken is in his element.
Ken is feeding his own ego right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've met.
Okay, folks, if I can have your attention, please. First of all, thank you very much for turning out for our weekly WakeLP Meetup. My name is Brad Hessel. I'm the treasurer of the Wake County Libertarian Party. I'm not going to be hitting you up for money tonight, so don't worry. But we do typically try to have at least one officer here to basically help out anybody that's new or anybody that isn't new and has questions, whatever. And I'm the guy that's in charge tonight. However, I'm not going to be talking much because, as you know, we have a special presentation tonight talking about the 2017-2018 election cycle and all the various opportunities that are involved there, which our chair, David Ulmer, is going to be talking about. Before he does that, I just have a couple of brief announcements that I want to make. If you are interested in helping out at events, we do have some coming up. We have the Fiesta del Sol. Am I pronouncing that right? Del Pueblo, right. And also, it's not too early to begin thinking, oh, well, before that, then there's a Habitat for Humanity event, which I believe is June 10th. And the Pueblo event is in September. And then in October, we have the State Fair, which WakeLP typically runs for the state. You know, probably a little early to think about that, but we will be asking for volunteers. Also, one other thing is that we are perfecting our database of the 4,000 registered libertarians in Wake County. We have contact information for only about 10% of them, other than we know where they live, but we don't have emails or phone numbers. So we would like to do a door knocking campaign this year, since there's not a lot of electoral activity, just municipal elections. So if you're interested in helping out in your precinct, you see the door hanger that's been handed out. That's the material that's available. We have scripts and so on and so forth. We will provide you with a list of folks in your precinct who are registered libertarians that you can knock on their doors for. So without further ado, I would now like to turn this over to David.
All right, thank you. And let's go ahead. All right, well, thank you for coming out. Really appreciate it. Dave Ulmer. What we're going to talk about today or 5%.
Smaller parties perhaps lose focus. They focus on 4 years and don't like lots of opportunities, local elections, and all presidential years to have a real impact.
So
I'd like to talk about why we run.
I run.
One of the reasons we run is, of course, to educate. It gives you a free platform.
You get invited to
News with the News and Observer.
you get invited to events. You get sent.
So if you want to spread the libertarian message, you just have to register to run for office, and people will get a platform for no money to advance libertarian ideas on local issues or state issues. It's the real benefit to us. Second, you give
People a choice.
I read, I think somebody posted today that 30% now of voters in North Carolina are unaffiliated. So 30% of the voters in North Carolina that just don't feel comfortable registering Democrat or Republican. That's a real opportunity for us. But we can't take advantage of it until we get libertarians on the ballot. So we have to compete. Even an unaffiliated race like a city council race, people will find out that you are, at least if not an actual registered libertarian, perhaps libertarian leaning in your ideas and solutions. It doesn't take long, to be honest, to stop one of us when we get going. The other one is impact. can't tell you how low the turnout is for city council races. Several in Raleigh, about Raleigh, but West, Wake Forest, Garner, all these cities have municipal elections in this whole year. Are decided by 200 votes. And a lot of times it's one of the groups that votes for us, which is a younger demographic, and we need to get them out and vote. Because if we can get them engaged, they're people who normally support them. And it really is an opportunity to have an impact. We really can win or lose an election for a candidate with just 300 or 400 votes in some days. So the other one is, and when I get to the state house races, we'll talk about the impact we can have there. So local elections. One of the big issues in local elections is always affordable housing, zoning, you name it. So for example, in Raleigh, they have the comprehensive plan, which feeds into unified development ordinance. You have citizens advisory committees, which are right now possibly going away and are a flashpoint, as some of you may know. And then you have a very active city council. And that creates issues that get people involved who are normally not political. You can pull yourself away from homey and some of the other national issues. What you'll find out is you can get people who don't consider themselves very political to basically elect a city councilman in North Raleigh over a supermarket. That David Cox led a rebellion against Publix, and he's on the city council now. It's really interesting. You just the newspaper. You know, the last 2 days we had Overland is now going to try to get themselves zoned historical again because they don't want development in their area, or they want to kind of slow it down. And then, of course, Terry, I don't know if anybody involved, has a battle royale going on right now over Habitat for Humanity and some homes going in here. These are issues that get people out and engaged. And having a libertarian perspective and talking about, nobody talks about this. Nobody ever shows up to these meetings to talk about property rights. So these are unique issues for our demographic. What you often end up with in a lot of these fights are established residents. They own their homes. They've been there for a long time. They don't want to change. And the side that doesn't get represented is a side that maybe doesn't show up and vote for these city elections.
Is that turned on?
Yep.
Okay.
So no worries. So that's why I would encourage you all to tune into some of these issues because there is a libertarian basically rationale for being involved when we're talking about these, especially the people that normally support property rights. When you don't have the ability to develop and build, it hurts affordable housing. I contrast cities like Cary and Raleigh with Houston. Houston has no zoning at all. None. They have HOAs and deed restrictions. But because of that, the fourth largest city in America has dramatically more affordable housing than, let's say, New York or San Francisco. Houston, by contrast, is a little, how should we say, bougie, a little chaotic. The big buildings sometimes crowd up where you don't expect the big buildings to crowd up. But again, it's a free market solution. Rather than waiting for the city to draw the perfect solution, you let the market solve the problem. This feeds into transportation plans. You know, we call them inclusionary zones, or we shouldn't say we. The city will call an area an inclusionary zone and set up their public transportation to serve a certain area. And that's, of course, where affordable housing is supposed to go in and touch the back key. And that's also where you're going to get the city trying to design how a city should look in the sense that you're going to say, hey, you're going to have public transportation here. So if you're young, you're working class, or you need this public assistance or affordable housing, this is where you're supposed to be. It's anything but an inclusionary zone. So as a libertarian who wants a free market solution and people to have a choice in where they live and wants developers to respond to market demand, it's something to consider. You know, so I ask you to think about that and why running and talking about these ideas, even if you're not 100% on board. These are the issues that really motivate you. I've started to go to some of these citizen advisory committee meetings. And boy, you want to talk about people who are passionate. They're not passionate about homey and all this other stuff. But boy, you talk about a house or the wrong thing going up near their house, they're a fired up group. Some other local issues, policing. As some of you know, we're the only state in the union that still tries 16 and 17-year-olds as adults. So when you put school resource officers in schools, you create an interesting dynamic because there's no uniform training for them across the county. It's an issue that we should talk about because 16 to 17-year-old adults in high school, depending on where you guys grew up or your environment, 16 or 17, I hate to think I could have been arrested at 16 for just being me my junior year. Public-private partnerships. Again, libertarians want the market to solve issues. We've had issues in Raleigh where, somebody says, hey, we'll help you build a sidewalk. The city doesn't even have a plan to deal with that. That's in Raleigh. But other cities have very similar issues where, somebody comes and says, hey, the market says we want a sidewalk here and I'll give you $300,000 to help put it in. Sorry, it's not on our list of the top 10. Transportation, again, local government, libertarians believe in market solutions. Anybody in Wake County familiar with the transportation bond we had? $2.3 billion, you get to own that for 10 years. Mary Ann Baldwin and Kane, they were out there pushing this transportation plan. Very expensive. It was going to have, hey, everybody's going to get on the bus and we'll service these inclusionary zones. It's development around transportation. And then you have the city who's still basically subsidizing their parking and won't privatize that and let the market determine the price there. So you want people on a bus at the county level, but at the city level, they're basically subsidizing parking, which discourages the bus. And then if you're like me, you use Uber anyway, so you pay for it 3 times. These are the kind of issues. These are the reasons libertarians should be running to point out these kind of issues. Like, hey, there's a market response to a lot of this.
Yes.
So with that in mind, real quick, I'm just going to touch on Raleigh. Again, if you are interested you're in another community, Garner or whatever, and you want to get out there and sell a libertarian idea, please let us know. These are unaffiliated races. That said, there's no reason a group of libertarians can't support an unaffiliated candidate. You just won't have the libertarian tag on the ballot, but we can still work a neighborhood for you. We can still encourage people to vote for you, and we can still talk about you in our communities. So, City of Raleigh. I just made some notes just to compare some stuff. The mayor, Nancy McFarland, will probably, I'm not even sure she'll be opposed, but she will not lose, to be honest. At large, it'll be interesting. Mary Ann Baldwin may not run again. I have reason to believe that from my sources that she will not. But Nicole Stewart will. She's a new candidate. Her website is interesting. It says not much at all. But with that in mind, well, it just doesn't. I mean, it's a very vanilla. But that's what makes these
accessibility. And what does that mean?
Exactly. I mean, it's Sunday. But that hits on a point that Brian's brought up. These local races are really about how active you've been in the community. These local races are really about your personal network. You get your church out there for you. You have some other organizations you're a part of, and you get people voting for you because you're you. And that's where, these are really low turnout races. 300, I'm not kidding, 300 votes can be the difference. As we'll see in Raleigh District A, they had a runoff. That's a perfect example of where 100 votes, one way or the other, and we could mobilize 100, 150 people to support one candidate because they are at least market-oriented in some of their solutions. That would be fantastic. So District B, again, David Cox, he basically is a city councilman because he fought Publix, which is what his community wanted. But they're an interesting group up there. That's my district. Corey Branch, District C. Corey replaced Eugene Weeks, I believe. And Eugene Weeks had been in that position for, I want to say, 6 terms, about 12 years. That's Southeast Raleigh. That is an area that has a sometimes different set of problems than North Raleigh. It's an area that needs some help with some different solutions. And really, the solutions that have been offered time and time again haven't been working. And that's where we go back again to historical zones, environmental rules, other parts of the city being very active. It kind of forces development to parts of the city that maybe it's a little unfair. That's government shouldn't manipulate markets. District E is Bonner Gaylord. He's tied to Kane Realty. He won a three-way race, meaning he got 50% of the vote. So I don't think he'll be in danger, to be honest. But that does bring up another point. Any race that has 3 or 4 candidates, you got to have 50% to win, so you can go to a runoff. So in a race that kind of ends up getting wide open, it can go any way. So wasn't going to have a lot of discussion, but I will take questions real quick if anybody has any. Anybody, city council?
How many at-large races are there?
There's two. So in Raleigh, so again, I'm just using Raleigh as an example. You have the mayor, 2 at large, and then you have 5 district seats. The other great thing, besides the numbers, is these races are affordable, relatively. I mean, an NC House race, I think the last time I was in one, my district was pretty expensive. It was $650 for the Democrat, $576 for the Republican. That's not a race that we can really run TV ads for. Some of these city council races, you look and some people spend $12,000, $15,000, which I know is a lot of money, but that's where spending $3,000 or $4,000 actually can make you competitive. And that's where, as Brian has pointed out, it's really your network and who you know and pulled in that make the difference. So I would encourage you, if you find out a libertarian is running or consider running, support that person. And if you are interested in running in whatever community you live in or city, let me know. I mean, we'll sit down and pull up the info and look at what race might be competitive for you.
As I said, I'm new to the area, but roughly how many people live in these Raleigh districts? I know that the voter turnout's a few thousand here on each side. Do you know roughly like the population side, what percentage that voter turnout is, that kind of thing?
I want to say the turnout is usually between 10 and 15%. I don't even think it's 20 in the city council races.
Okay.
So each district kind of varies in size. I don't know what Wake County has as active voters. Brad, that's more of your question as far as how many active voters are in Wake County.
Well, I haven't actually looked at these individual districts, except I happen to have looked at District C recently, and I know there are 60,000 registered voters in District C now, and I see here that in 2013, I guess it was, these numbers are 2015, sorry, 2015, 2 years ago, fewer than 6,000 people voted. So maybe there's a few less than 60,000 2 years ago, but not a lot. You're talking about 10%, which is pretty much what David's saying.
So that's why I'm bringing this up, because impact, I mean, it really wouldn't take many of us working too hard, to be honest, to have an impact in one of these races if we targeted it. We could just turn the people out, talk about solutions that are different than the standard, hey, you need more free stuff. Hey, we'll raise taxes on somebody else to pay for your more free stuff. Thank you for the question. What I will talk about now is a fun one. NC House and Senate elections in 2018. It sounds like it's far away, but it actually comes up pretty quick. So in Wake County, we have 11 NC House seats that'll be up for grabs and 5 in the NC Senate. So there's a couple things we need to keep in mind in 2018. Number one, they are supposed to draw new maps. I say supposed to because it seems like each time they're supposed to do something, the General Assembly somehow with their lawyers manages to. Well, there were supposed to be special elections in 2017.
It's not. The courts are still. There's
still in court.
Lawsuits. The courts still haven't made a decision.
They're dragging it. So the point being is we may not have the new districts that at one point we were supposed to have in 2018. So either way, the good news is we have data from 2016 to work with where we had quite a few libertarians run. And if we have new districts, then all bets are off. Second thing to remember is there'll be no statewide races and no national races. That actually could help us. Everything is going to be focused on the federal congressional, which are all appropriately gerrymandered and only a couple are even close to competitive. And then you have the NC House and the NC Senate races. So this is it. So there will be even more opportunities for media coverage. So when I talked about why running and educating voters and having an impact, the NC House and NC Senate races in 2018, you're going to get invited to stuff. You're going to have an opportunity to speak if you choose to be an active candidate. You're going to have the opportunity to fill out the forms and do interviews with the News and Observer. You get a fair amount of free advertising if you're willing to take advantage of it. The other,
I ran last year, and I had several people actually tell me that they voted for me because of the surveys that I responded to. No one else responded to them. My voters didn't respond, so at least they could read something that I said. And they liked what I said, and they voted for me. So, that's work.
And it goes back to the 30% unaffiliated. We have a floor. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers in Wayne County from last year. I think most of our candidates will get 4 or 5% just for participating. And although 4 or 5% doesn't sound like a lot, it does throw a monkey wrench into some of these close races. And so, well, it did it in more than a couple. So since I was familiar with my own race, probably more than the others, I will say, if you oppose the gerrymandering and the way it's been set up, we should definitely need to run in this close races. Because I talked to somebody at Civitas, and they think my presence possibly caused the Republican incumbent, Gary Pendleton, to lose. I actually saw Cynthia Ball and talked to her last Tuesday, and she knew at Stow Elementary, where I worked all day election day, that I got 15%, and Cynthia and the Democrats were apparently convinced that I took more votes from her because I took more votes from young people. So that's works to our advantage. We have a message that we can sell that will appeal to possibly younger voters or Republican voters that are more free market oriented. We have a message that we can talk about inclusiveness and gay marriage. We have a solution that is different from the other two parties in a lot of cases, but we also can kind of turn that knob. I mean, any libertarian can focus his message and his issues on his district and the way he wants it sold. I mean, they have that flexibility. I mean, every libertarian has the things that has gone in personally to the Libertarian Party. So I would ask you to consider that. As I get into this is where impact for me is important. You know, I talked about educating voters about the Libertarian Party. Talked about providing a choice on the ballot so people who are frustrated with Republicans and Democrats have somewhere else to go. But now I'm going to talk about impact, particularly with the North Carolina House race. And we just talked about the election from 2016 in House 49. But if you happen to have the little cheat sheets in front of you, there's an NC House page where I draw your attention to House 35, 36, 40, and 49. That's basically 3 suburbs in northern Wake and 1 down in the Cary area. That is as purple as North Carolina gets. Those are close competitive races. That's where a libertarian needs to be on the ballot, absolutely. A libertarian needs to be active in those 4. I definitely want libertarians running in all 11 NC House races. I want libertarians out there spreading their message. But those 4 are interesting because what I'm going to get to now is the fact that if you want to have an impact, you need to do something. And currently, the Republicans have a supermajority in the House, meaning they have 74 Republicans, so they can override the governor's veto. I am not in any way, as you might have noted, they're going to pull forward Democrats or encourage Democrats to be in charge or have leverage. But if you would like to see one of the political parties be out $3 million or $2 million in Lake County, if you would like to get noticed and have media attention, run a libertarian in 8 of the close races that exist in North Carolina in 2018 and have that libertarian talk about free market solutions, talk about crony capitalism, target the Republicans, and there's 5 there out of those 8. If we trip 3 of them, they go to 71. Suddenly we're a major player. 8 candidates, $20,000. 8 candidates, $20,000 is what I'm basically trying to pitch tonight as far as the why. If we accomplish that, and that's something I believe is doable. You know, the LPNC is absolutely right for having a strategic plan that would put somebody in the NC Senate, because 1 out of 50 has a greater impact. We definitely want to run somebody in all 120 House seats. But there's 8 that are worth targeting, and 2 of them are in Wake County. And so if you want to send a message to the other 2 parties about the balance of power, be the party that determined that balance. Do something that will really have an impact and really change how things work in North Carolina. So I ask you to look at these, look at the races that were closed. Chris Malone in District 35. He is somebody that I will probably campaign against harder than anybody. For those of you who were familiar with HB 500, it was gutted. It would have raised the barrel limit. He is on the ABC committee. He is, for me, one of those, I believe in free market Republicans unless I've been paid recently. And I am not about that. And he is somebody I want out of, I'm not just being blunt, I want him out of office. And I will make an attempt to swing that 6%. It's the longest reach on that page, but I'm going to go for it. And then as I wrap up here in the last little bit, NC Senate, same thing. You want to have an impact? NC Senate, we need to do a little bit, it's a little tougher climb. I didn't look across the state, but we have 2 districts out of the 5 in Wake County. Travis is familiar in one. I think you're in NC 15, as I recall, correct?
Mhm.
And that was
Correct.
That was very close. No, it's NC 17. I think you are. Yeah, NC 17.
Is that Carrie?
Yeah, that's scary. And that was less than 1%.
Holly Springs.
Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
so that's. I mean, we have competitive races. We've got to be in them. I want somebody in all of them. But please, if you won't be a candidate or wouldn't consider being a candidate, please start to think about what you can do to step up in 2018. Think about being a treasurer. Think about being a campaign manager. You live in another county and you don't have somebody running in your area. Think about maybe somebody you could help on the western side of Wake. You know, just with signing on Saturday or just door knocking, something. I mean, if we all get involved in 2018, we have an impact at 3 or 4 or 5%. So again, we're out there to educate people, provide a choice, and we can have an impact both at city council level and the state house and state senate in 2018. With that, I will ask if anybody has any questions before I do a quick special announcement. Well, not quick, but I'm close to being done.
I would also
Yeah.
add, I would also
Hey,
add
I'm
that,
only pretty good.
I would also add that the reason for running a campaign is to provide an alternative to the failed policies of the Democrats and Republicans. Yes, we need to put our name out there, but I think you need to, don't just do this because you want to stick it to the Republicans or stick it to the Democrats. What you want to do is present the alternative, because there's too many issues at the state level, and I'll finally have an opportunity to use the phrase. The Democrats essentially are doing nothing other than voting against everything the Republicans oppose, because they have no ideas. Republicans are doing a whole bunch of stuff, mostly bad ideas. And it's all about, I mean, today, the Senate released, State Senate released the budget. The Republican Party, the party of smaller government, is increasing the budget, creating, I think, 1 or 2 new cabinet level positions in the state government. The Democrats don't even have a budget. I mean, the governor presented one, but they're not pushing it. They're not talking about it. Everything they're doing is saying, look at the Republicans are doing. That's bad. So, you know, the libertarian perspective is, instead of arguing about whether we should raise the budget 2.5% or 3.5% or 5.5%, maybe we should discuss how we can reduce the budget 5% or 10% or 20%. The Democrats and Republicans won't bring that issue up. So.
No, it's educate, choice, and have an impact.
So you know you have to live in the district that you're running in?
Yes, you do.
Not if you're running
Or,
But we can help move. We got pickup trucks, volunteers. You let me know where you need to live, and we'll get it done.
Other seats in Raleigh, you know, seats in Wake County. Is there a seat that you think?
It's winnable.
Yeah.
Right now, to be honest, in 2018, no. Because the close race, I mean, I'm just being honest, the close race, so House 49, I was outspent about $1.2 million in 5 grand. So, I mean, when the other side has television commercials that run and run, Marilyn Avila and Joe John in House 40, that race was decided by less than 400 votes, but that was, there's a name recognition. It's very tough to compete with, and then there's also the libertarian brand. So this, for me, this is a process. In 2018, you get somebody in all 11 NC House races, you get that party out there, and then collectively in the county, you can talk about the Libertarian Party. But right now, I don't see we had a couple where we had people try to challenge a candidate who normally runs unopposed. We have a couple Democrats in the county who usually just run unopposed. They have the gerrymandered district, the Republicans have given it to them, and won't even. That's to his point. That's part of the failed policies of the Republicans is they don't even try. Like in certain areas, they won't even try to advance their ideas. Like they just give up, and that's the way the maps are set up. So I don't see it. The money talks. I think somebody at one point did a presentation like 2 years ago, pointed out that 90% of the races, 90% are decided by who spent the most money. So it's not in every race, but it's a lot of them, and we need to work on brand. We need to work on getting people out there. They need to see our DNL, and they need to see it through several election cycles. So I don't mean to disappoint. I hope you still help with everything else you got going on.
My question was, even on the city council, you get one meeting. I mean, and to take and focus as much energy and as much money on getting one. And one win would be very powerful.
So city council is unaffiliated, but if your question was city council, those are winnable. City council is winnable. City council is 4,000 or 5,000 votes. They're unaffiliated, and you're talking about budgets now where I can still take in oxygen, like 20 grand.
Then wouldn't it be wise to pick something?
There's a special announcement on your page, sir. Your moment is coming. Last question.
No, but the other great thing about being a metropolitan area, you've got a lot of races in a very small area. You guys are all in the same media market. The most expensive part of your campaign nowadays is your media buys. If you guys band together and group your media buys, join your message together if you can get a huge savings on your television ads and all of that by having group ads. Something that Republicans and Democrats in the state are not doing. But if you have all of one forward message, get together and make it a batch.
So, for example, running an ad for Gary Johnson.
Yes, like without his permission or whatever. But again, libertarians aren't very good with permission. So with that, I think, look, we're almost done. After this, we can have lots of other sidebar conversations and stuff. But I did promise a special announcement, and at this point, I'm going to let Owen Watson come up here. And is this working for you now?
No, we're on the regular mic.
It's
okay.
Thank you.
Let's give a hand, David. Let's just say David's been phenomenal in his first month or so, is it, of being the president, whatever you are, chairperson. He's been phenomenal. He's taking us the direction. He's allowing folks who are interested in working to work. And he's encouraging us. He started some campaigns, so great job, David. So yes, I think Eric, there were several people at Raleigh out this past weekend. Phenomenal event. It's the Libertarian Party starting to really do something in the community that just doesn't look like dollars and cents. You know, it's about real people. So I want to thank Eric and a lot of the people, Leslie, that was out there running that Raleigh out thing. Why am I standing in front of you today?
Who are you?
Who am I? I am Olin Watson. I live this is my wife back there, Laura Watson. Been married for 7 years.
God bless.
God bless Laura. About a mile and a half that way in the hood. And where I live is called District C. I say District C because that's the city council. I'm here today, Olin Watson, to tell you, the Libertarian Party, that I'm going to be running for the city council race.
All right.
It's really exciting to me. Thank you for your applause. It's really exciting to me because David said this. It's winnable. This is a nonpartisan race, but let's be honest. Are the Democrats that are running really nonpartisan? Are the Republicans running really nonpartisan when they're coming to this race? No, they're not. We don't really need to be, totally. I need you guys. We already have, 7 or 8, 9 people who have been volunteering their time and efforts. Brad's been doing a fantastic job helping my finances so far. David's been acting as sort of a temporary campaign manager. Ken's waiting on my EPS files for some things. I've got a video shoot this weekend. I've got some stills that we're going to be taking this weekend too. We have already 7-8 people that have involved their time, and we're going to blow this thing out of the water. You see, every campaign that we do is not just for getting somebody elected, but it's about you guys becoming trained to run campaigns. And you brought up a very good, important point, that economies of scale can be used by the Libertarians to help our candidates to be much more successful. And that's very exciting to me, because we're going to develop a video production group. We're going to develop a photography, creative arts group. We're going to develop a finance group. We're going to develop a core of footwork volunteers that know how to organize that data that the Board of Elections can give us, right? So this is an extremely exciting time, because we have the opportunity in Raleigh here to put one candidate forward, and I am very humbled that it's going to be me. We have one opportunity to put one person forward and train each and every one of you to be fantastic in doing something. So when we come to these next General Assembly races, we don't get 4%. We don't get 5%. Maybe we get 8. Maybe the next time we get 10. And we're going to be spoilers for a while. And we understand that. We understand we're going to spoil some Republicans. And we understand we're going to spoil some Democrats. And we're not scared of that label. We can't be. We got to recognize it, embrace it a little bit, and go forward and get elected. And like you said, sir, turn that one election into 2. And all of a sudden, we can move the General Assembly. It's been 40 years. It was the year I was born that the Libertarian Party began. I feel sort of proud about that. Gary Johnson gave us an opportunity this time, and we cannot waste this opportunity. So I ask you, before you leave today, talk to David, talk to Brad, talk to me, talk to anybody on the executive committee about helping out with this campaign the way you can. If you can just be a foot soldier, maybe passing out some literature every once in a while, that's perfect. We need all of your talents. So I want to thank you who asked me to run, and tell you that the people in this room are talented people, and we can win with you. And even if we don't win, we're going to shake some boots. They're going to get scared about what the Libertarian Party is going to do, and more Libertarians will wake up and join us for the next race. So please join with me, and we'll take care of this.
I think we're done, except for this one 15 that you've been talking for 6 minutes more than I wanted to. So, Owen has stepped down as secretary, so he can run for city council. And Patrick is the new secretary on the WakeLP team. He's already started organizing events and other stuff, so I'm pretty excited. And with that, I think we are done with any kind of formal presentation, and hope you will continue to just enjoy beer with me and enjoy your meal. Thank you for coming out.
I am.